Hey, good evening, guys. This is Nathan Pennington from RunDreamAchieve.com, and today's video I'm going to talk over a few points on what is a tempo run, what exactly is it, why do we do these types of workouts, and why it's so critical for your success as a distance runner. It doesn't matter if you're a middle distance runner or you're focused more so on the 10K to marathon distances. The tempo run is critical in terms of being able to sustain pace for a longer period of time. It's usually conducted at your anaerobic threshold, and what your anaerobic threshold is basically the point where lactic acid starts to build up in your bloodstream. And the key to running fast for long periods of time is being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. And so you see all these top distance runners, the guys from Kenya or the top American distance runners, um, you know, distance runners, regardless where they're at in the world, they're if you see them out there racing and they look, just relaxed and focused, and but they're running at like 6 minute pace or 5 minute pace or sub 5 minute pace. There's a reason for that, and the reason is because they've spent a lot of time, a higher percentage of their weekly volume training at at their anaerobic threshold. And usually your anaerobic threshold, if you're wearing a heart rate monitor, usually is between 167 to 174 beats per minute. It's usually in that range. I mean, depending on age, usually what they say is if you take 220, you take your age and you minus that by 220, that should give you your max heart rate. So anaerobic threshold is usually where we do these tempo run efforts. It is usually up around 88 to closer to 90% of your max heart rate. So it is not by any means an easy workout. Regardless what distance you're preparing for right now, the key thing to keep in mind is to be patient, because nobody just me as a marathon runner. I can't go into a training block and go into the first or second week of a training block and be doing a 4 to 8 mile tempo run, and I'm running at marathon goal race pace. So for me, my PR for the marathon is 5:19 mile pace, 2:19:35. For me to go out right now, I'm in my my second week of my training build up for a marathon that I have in mind. And right now, the thought of doing a 4 mile tempo at 5:19 pace or around 5:25 pace is pretty demanding. And so you just have to, one, be extremely patient and allow your body to adapt, because physiological adaptations usually take about 3 weeks for your body to adapt to the stress that you're placing upon it. But in terms of tempo runs, Dr. Joe Vigil, he's one of the world's top exercise physiologists. He's a mentor of mine and many other distance runners. When I was in college under Jack Hazen, Jack Hazen he was the 2000 Olympic Games USA track and field head coach or assistant coach, and also he was my collegiate coach at Malone University in Canton, Ohio. And Jack and Dr. Joe Vigil were very close. So when I got to Malone in 1995, I had never did any type of heart rate monitor training, but I did know some things about the anaerobic threshold and the importance of training at that level. The key for that is what Dr. Joe Vigil says is, and keep in mind, Coach Vigil is one of the world's most world-renowned exercise physiologists. And he even states that when we're racing, it doesn't matter if it's a 5K or even up to a marathon distance, we're racing at basically at our anaerobic threshold, right around that 166, 167 to 174 beats per minute. Really anything above like 175, you're really pushing. You're working more at your aerobic capacity, and aerobic capacity is basically your maximum oxygen capacity. The maximum effort your body can absolutely put out. And if you think of doing an all-out sprint up a hill, a 200, 400 meter hill, or doing any type of sprinting, that's aerobic capacity. That's because you can only we as distance runners, middle distance runners, can really only spend, a few seconds to maybe a couple minutes at that type of effort. So what's really in terms of, for this video being what is a tempo run? A tempo run is basically it can be anywhere from a shorter run workout to like a short as in like 2 to 3 miles, or you can branch it out to maybe around between 12 and 15 miles if you're a marathon runner. And even if you're focused more on the 5K and 10K, you can do tempo runs of that distance. You're going to create incredible strength and stamina from doing that type of work. Obviously, when we run slow, we're burning fat and building endurance. But when you're doing a tempo run, you're training the body for lactate tolerance, and that's the key. That's the way you make those big jumps in your training. Tempo runs, I'll tell you right now, between tempo runs and long runs, the tempo runs I credit to being able to having dropped my 10-mile best from 55:15 in college to 50:54 as a professional. I was able to lower my marathon from 2:43:36 in my debut in 2002 at the New York City Marathon to 2:19:35 at the 2007 California International Marathon. So those types of workouts are critical if you want to make those next jumps in your training. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get under 25 minutes for the 5K, or you're trying to break the 2-hour half marathon. All of it factors in. This is universal. It doesn't matter where your capability is at. If you're training at that type of heart rate for a sustained amount of time, and you're training your anaerobic threshold, you're training your body to be able to clear that lactic acid faster than it's building up, then you're gonna start getting huge personal bests. And if not huge personal bests, you're gonna get out there and you're gonna be able to compete, and it's gonna be a point where you can sustain the pace and you can make those you can make those changes in the race. When somebody tries to throw a surge at you, you can react because you've done it in training. I always say, I mean, my philosophy is always make training the most difficult, challenging, testing part of your preparation. Because when it comes to the race, when you see people around you, the other distance runners around you, you'll see far too many people that are just too tense. They're too stressed. They're worried. It's like if you've done everything you can in training and you've pushed yourself to the limit in training, you've tested your body and you've prepared properly, then the race should not be intimidating. It should not be stressful. Now that's easier said than done. I understand that, and it's okay and it's normal to have a little bit of fear and a little bit of nerves a little bit before a race. That's totally okay. But you can also smile. You can also crack a joke with either a loved one or somebody that you know in the race. You don't have to be on the starting line so stressed out that you feel like you're going to pass out. That's what you do in training. You test yourself in training, get to a point where race pace feels easier. It's not ever going to necessarily feel easy, but you want that training effect to occur. And to do that, that's what tempo runs do. If you're training at, just to reiterate, don't expect to just go out, the first few weeks. If you haven't put in a base of easy mileage, do not try tempo runs right off the bat. I mean, it's just normal just to build yourself up, have a good solid base of easy mileage for maybe 4 to 8 weeks, and then start training your at a higher anaerobic level. AT runs, you want to basically kind of gradually extend the distance of the runs themselves. Early on, if you're training for a 5K, obviously a tempo run of 2 to 3 miles in the early stages of your training buildup is great. And then you can extend as you get fitter, maybe out to like 6 to 8 miles. If you're a marathon runner, obviously, it can be similar. You can start off between 2 and 3 miles at a tempo effort, and then just kind of branch it off until, as you get fitter, you make the distance anywhere from maybe like 8-mile tempo to like 16 miles. And I've done that numerous times myself over the years. So hopefully that gives you some insight, at least from somebody in my background. I've been at this for 28 years. I've had a lot of ebbs and flows in training. but I have had at least a few very highly competitive efforts over the years, and it's been on, definitely I credit tempo runs and doing a lot of other things correctly. It's not, you cannot just do one type of workout to get a personal best. There's a lot of things that go in along with it: hydration, proper recovery, training at the right and proper heart rates while you're you know preparing for different races. Um, your obviously your nutrition. There's a lot of things that go into it. So, but what is a tempo run? A tempo run is simply training at the anaerobic threshold and being able to um, teach your body over time, not overnight, but over time, to be able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. And that's why all the best runners you see on TV or on YouTube, they make it look easy for a reason. And I can tell you from my own experience, when I ran my PR for the marathon, I some of the splits, it was crazy. I mean, I hit 10 miles. I still remember in 51:26. I was at 107:09 through the half marathon point. 144:05 at 20 miles. I think that was 5:11 pace through 20 miles, and that's all on account those types of hard efforts. And obviously, I didn't just get to it. That type of effort just didn't happen overnight. But it was a combination of especially adding in tempo runs, extending the length of the tempo runs, and getting to a point where I could compete at that type of pace and be able to react to the Kenyan athletes and the other top athletes in that particular race that were trying to throw everything at me, and I was able to react. Um, and that's what you want. You want to be able to train the anaerobic systems of the body effectively, so you can make race pace feel more uh, manageable and not so stressful. Obviously, race pace is always going to feel challenging, but that's the goal of that's what happens when you train properly in training, but you do these tempo runs effectively and you give yourself time to adapt. You will then definitely be able to make those changes and make those be able to react to the surges and the different moves that your competition is trying to throw at you in the race. So hopefully this video has been helpful, and if you haven't yet, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon. That way, anytime I make new videos, you'll be able to see. You'll be able to be notified of those videos. So if you haven't yet checked out the website, my website is RunDreamAchieve.com. I have two courses currently on the site. One for athletes that are trying to break the 3-hour marathon, called the Sub 3 Hour Marathon Pro. The other is the 4-hour marathon mastery course, which is for athletes trying to break the 4-hour marathon. If you're looking for a 5K to marathon training schedule, obviously I have numerous, either for total beginners or for advanced level athletes, 5K to marathon training schedules as well on the site. And there's nearly 500 posts on there too of free content, just free advice that I provide on there as well. So definitely check out the site. And again, I hope this video has been helpful in terms of in your preparation and trying to understand what tempo runs are really for. What is the physiological end goal in mind with these types of workouts, and the many benefits that come along with doing these workouts. So have a great afternoon, great morning, great evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you next time.